But tell me, Dante, if you had command of the Pharaon, should you be glad to see Danglars remain? Captain or mate, Monsieur Morrel, I shall always have the greatest respect for those who possess the owner's confidence. That's right, Dante. I see you are a thoroughly good fellow, and will detain you no longer. Go, for I see how impatient you are. Then I have leave. Go, I tell you. May I have use of your skiff? Certainly. Then, for the present, Monsieur Morrel, farewell, and 1,000 thanks. I hope to see you again, my dear Edmond. Good luck to you. The young sailor jumped into the skiff and sat down in the stern sheets, with the order that he be put ashore at the Canebière. The 2 oarsmen bent to their work, and the little boat glided away as rapidly as possible in the midst of the 1,000 vessels which choke up the narrow way which leads between the 2 rows of ships from the mouth of the harbor to the Quai d'Orléans. The ship-owner, smiling, followed him with his eyes until he saw him spring out of the quay and disappear into the midst of the throng, which from 5 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night swarms in the famous street of La Canebière, a street of which the modern Phocéens are so proud that they say with all the gravity in the world, and with that accent which gives so much character to what is said, if Paris had a La Canebière, Paris would be a second Marseille. On turning round, the owner saw Danglars behind him, apparently awaiting orders, but in reality also watching the young sailor. But there was a great difference in the expression of the 2 men who thus followed the movements of Edmond Dantès. Thus concludes Chapter 1 of The Count of Monte Cristo. All right, so, very explicitly at the end there, Morrel and Danglars are watching Dante for opposite reasons. Morrel clearly wants to promote him to captain. Danglars, again, just has daggers in his eyes for him. The mystery remains as to why or what he wishes done with Dante, but we have many chapters and many episodes ahead of us to find out. You know what I didn't mention last week, and I wish I had, is this whole ordeal where Dante and Danglars had that argument that Dante had suggested they go, like, let's talk it out, bro. Let's go over to that island and just kind of like hash this out, figure it out, and get on with it. And that island being Monte Cristo. Interesting. Okay, so Danglars knows Monte Cristo. He's been there, or at least been by there. They didn't stop. So Monte Cristo has entered the chat as of last week. This week, we get the continuation of Dante being ever the politician, saying, like, yeah, well, you know, if Danglars is hired, then you got my pass. What am I to say about it? It's not my money. I can't do anything about it. I got to work with who I got to work with. Don't we all? So one thing I kind of flagged here, though, that I flagged, I think, in the first episode of this chapter, was that the crowd is sitting there from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. to watch a boat come in the harbor. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of time. But like I asked in that episode, they can't all just be like sitting there staring at the boats, right? I mean, there's got to be something else going on here. So I did a little bit of research, just a tiny bit. And I thought I could kind of run through and paint out what is this street of Marseille, the Canebière, La Canebière street. What does this look like? Really immerse us in the details here. So here's what could be going on: dockside commerce, a hub for Mediterranean trade, lots of activity centered on goods being unloaded, bought and sold. So you can see gruff men pulling stuff down from ships. Those planks those roped like planks that people can go up and down so they don't slip. What could they be unloading? Obviously, we don't know what the cargo of the Pharaon is, but other ships could be unloading like spices and textiles, wine, olive oil, exotic goods from, Europe, North Africa, the Ottoman Empire. This is 1815 after all. But, all these people doing all this hard labor and all the people watching, they got to get hungry from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. So there's got to be, markets and food vendors, like early food trucks, someone like hawking bread or fruit and fish, like someone holding out a big old fish, like, hey, well, negotiating. I don't know. Maybe I'm taking all of my cues here from the Disney movie Aladdin. But I would imagine there is probably a fishing industry going on. I can't imagine you're going to be catching much just casting your line off of the dock there with all the boats and commotion going on, but there's probably, fishing boats that dock there, smaller vessels that can go out into the sea and try to capture some stuff. General socializing in business, neighbors seeing each other in the street. Hey, how are you? How's Jim doing? How's his new job settling in? Things going well? Yeah, we're thinking of painting the kitchen green, that sort of stuff. Also, I learned that cafe culture was just emerging. I like to think of in Venice that big outdoor cafe area that features so prominently in like Purple Noon or what was that movie with Katharine Hepburn, Summertime. Just like these big outdoor areas with tables, and I don't know. That's I could probably just go look up Marseille and see what the whole structure is like. Maybe I'll do that. I'll go do that in the future, but that's not what I got now. We're painting out this imaginary one with all the information I have here, and we're going to use our mind pictures. So, okay, so let's that's one thing. We got the general picture there. Let's get a little more granular with our detail. What does this smell like? What does this sound like? What are people seeing? So you got people unloading stuff, so I'm sure there's lots of dock workers yelling orders at each other, and then there's the socialization and the haggling. So lots of people shouting different prices at each other. If this is a hub, if this is a dock, there's got to be different languages going on. So lots of different things being spoken at once. Then you got the water, the little splash. Well, maybe not that. The gentle waves brushing up against the side of the boats. The clatter of the food carts being pushed along the cobblestones. Yeah, smells. I've never been super fond of a seaside area. I'm sure there's lots of smell of fish around. It's probably not good. I mean, you're not going to get in 1815, industrial smells. I guess that's a good thing, but just lots of people. Yeah, I have to imagine this probably is not a good smelling place. Lots of food. Maybe there's a good. I would station myself at a cafe that's right next to a bakery. Like, give me some coffee and some fresh baked bread, and I'll be good. Everyone else can have the rest of the smells. And so I guess, yeah, just to kind of wrap up the life of La Canebière here in 1815, it seems like it was a lively part of Marseille and just a crossroads of leisure and commerce and labor, and it would have been loud and noisy and crowded. Lots of energy from the morning to night, from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. apparently. Maybe there is a curfew. We don't know that. I'd like to see it. I don't think I'd like to stay there. But, okay, the first chapter is complete, and I've decided, this is a little bit longer of an episode, I realize. I've decided at the end of each chapter to take all of the reading parts and compile them into a single episode. And you can get access to those over at our Patreon at patreon.com/gruntworkpod. So for as little as $1, if you're interested in just like not listening to me ramble on and on and on, and I don't blame you, and you just want to follow along with the audiobook, you can do that over at our Patreon. So there's that. And I guess until it feels like it's going to be longer, it's just going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow we start chapter 2. Okay, I guess I'll see you then. Goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.